Hello and welcome to the Penno channel. We're back. I know it's the international break, but there's other things we can talk about. So we're going to talk about the January transfer window and what we can see Villa do in that. I'm here, joined by my bro Ads. Ads, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Looking forward to just speaking about Villa and see what money signings we can conjure up and discuss and see what needs to add to the team. So yeah, looking forward to this one.
Yeah. It's a bit of a boring week, and when it's internationals, England are playing Malta right now. They're already 1-0 up, and it's just dry. I saw five at the back, and that wasn't for me. So
Dead.
yeah, let's just talk about Villa. That's way more interesting than anything England and Gareth Southgate has to do. So yeah, January window. So currently we're in the position of where we're fifth. We're almost qualified for our Conference League group. I know we've got a big 3-4 games coming up soon, some big sides to play. But if we're still in and around it come January for, say, a top four push or even, a few points behind the league leaders, January is going to be a huge month. I think it is going to be anyway, but even if we're in that position, it's definitely going to be a huge month. So we're going to discuss possible outgoings. Firstly, we'll look into that. Um, Potential signings, and then some of the rumours around the club as well. So yeah, bro, let's go into it then. We'll start with the outgoings. Who do you potentially see leaving the side in the January window?
Yeah, man. I think with Villa's scenario right now, I think there's one or two that are pretty obvious that will probably be moved on. And then there's about like 3 or 4 players where you're not sure if it's this summer window or the January window or if they're even moved on at all. But the first player I'm gonna start with is Dendonka. There was rumors this week about he's not in Unai Emery's plans from like pretty reliable like Belgian journalists. And I do think we've seen with the minutes that he's been getting, he's not really starting conference games, that he might be moved on in January. I mean, this was a signing that happened under Gerrard. He's not Unai Emery's guy. And he could, yeah, just be surplus to requirements, man. So I think Dendonka might move on. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like the Dendonka transfer could be a real possibility because even when he's been available, he's hardly got minutes in the Conference League. It's either Tielemans, Kamara, or Douglas Luiz that's starting in the midfield. Um, yeah, we've rarely seen him this season. I know it was strange the injury he had last year towards the end. It was like a hand injury, wasn't it?
Well,
And
he
then,
he was in the kitchen like chefing, and then he had a hole in his hand. So I don't know how
yeah,
what led to another, but he was gone for time. I
yeah,
mean,
it was all mad.
Unai kept coming to the press as like making up next excuse. You remember when Dino had to make up
I
the
was going to
excuse for
say,
Grealish? That's
he
what it
was
was like.
reminiscent.
Yeah, man. Unai was like freestyling each week about Dendonka. So yeah, man. Whatever that injury was, he didn't play much towards the end of last season. And yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
just surplus to requirements, man.
yeah. He was renowned for stepping in for sort of big, United at home, Newcastle at home as well. He did step in some big games, but he seems like he's just, yeah, he's not required at the minute. And I can see Villa cashing in, seeing if they get some form of money for Dendonk. How much do you reckon you'd see him going for if we were to sell?
Like 4 million.
Yeah, yeah, around 4 mil.
I mean, he's only still 28, but he has
And
got the
he,
experience. But I don't know. We signed him for what, 15, was it?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe a bit more than maybe
big
like 7
decent.
million.
And I'm sure with the Euros coming around, he'll be looking for first team football to get into
Yeah,
that Belgium squad. So
that's a good point. Yeah, because
yeah, I think
he can play as like a backup third centre back, can't he, in that system?
yeah. So yeah, that's one I can potentially see happening because I'm sure he's not happy with the minutes he's getting. He came from Wolves to Villa, I assume, to get minutes, and even in another competition, he's still not seeing them. So yeah, Dendonko's definitely one I could see going. You got any others?
Yeah, the next one I'm going to touch on is Bertie, Mr. Left Foot himself, Bertie Traore, man, Mr. Headband, Mr. Armband, all that good stuff. I think it's time. I think it's time. His contract ends in June 2024. I don't know whether he might be loaned out towards the end and then just let go, like similar to what happened with Al Ghazi, or if there could be like a mutual termination of a deal. I don't know. I mean, he can now speak to clubs in January and then leave on a free in the summer. So that could be a possibility as well. And sign for another club with a signing on fee. But yeah, rarely got any minutes this season. I really don't think he's in Emery's plans at all, especially with the way Bailey's playing. Like he's not even coming off the bench in that sense in the Prem. So yeah, I think Bertrand, man, I think it might be time to move on, and I think we could see some movement in January with him. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, definitely with his contract situation with 6 months left on his deal. If we're potentially looking to get any sort of fee for him, it would be January. We'd have to go, otherwise he can sign a pre-agreement with another club. I don't see him extending his deal here, to be honest. You factor in Afcon's going to be around the corner as well. So after Jan, he's not going to be with us for a month at least. So yeah, I think we'll be looking to offload Bertrand, and he's been a good servant for if you encompass on everything. I know he's had many injuries, but he's had some pivotal moments. Leicester last season being one, and then obviously that first season, he was decent. He was getting good
He
goals
was
and
decent.
assists
He
with
put up some
United.
decent. I was looking at his goals and assist numbers the other day from that 2021 season. I didn't realize that he got double figures in the Prem
Mm. Who
combined.
would you
So
who would you say has had the biggest impact out of Trezeguet, El Ghazi, and Bertrand Traore at Villa? Who had the most importance? Would you say it was El Ghazi first?
I think Al Ghazi's got the playoff goal.
Mm,
He was consistent with his penalties that one season. I think he's
mm,
probably the best performer in a Villa shirt peak out of them three. Although Bertrand Traore away at West Brom is quite close. If you're talking peak, one off. Trezeguet, of course, that first season he did goals from. I know people say he saved us at the end. He did goals for most of the season, but he stepped up with crucial goals against
big
Leicester in the
goals.
cup,
Arsenal at home.
Palace, Arsenal at home. These are like
Yeah,
massive, massive goals,
yeah.
and he was quite important as well. Trezeguet in that Liverpool 7-2 win. I remember him doing like
Mm.
a pressing role that game. But yeah, I'll probably go Ghazi, Bertrand Traore, Trezeguet just off the top of my head. What about you?
Or I think I'd go El Ghazi, Trez, but
Oh yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just feel like Bertrand. He's had moments, but after that first season, it's just been injury plagued, and I don't think he's at the standard that we're trying to get to now.
No
So
chance. Nah, nah.
yeah, so I can see him moving on. And if we're looking to get a fee, January is definitely the time that he will go. So yeah,
I've just never seen a footballer that's like, I know McGinn can be 1-footed, but Bertrand just takes it to a new level in terms of he just got no right foot.
no right foot.
But when his left foot is on it, he can be good. But do you know what I think was the final dagger for Bertrand? Wolves away last season, where he got subbed off at half time.
Yeah,
It was just one of the worst performances I've seen from a player, and then we just had enough. And I think that was the end of it, to be honest. I know he's had his injuries and that, and he hasn't always come back like 100% fit, but yeah, I think it could be time to move on. Whether that's in January or somewhere, we'll have to see.
yeah, we will. Talman's joined us. Hi guys, how you're doing? Yeah, we're doing good. Thanks for joining the stream.
Yeah, thank you, Taiwan, for joining the stream.
So yeah, we go from Bertrand Traore and Dendoncourt. Anyone else you think could be leaving us in January?
What do you think about the possibility of Chambers leaving?
I don't think it will be Jan. I think Chambers is more a summer. If he's going to leave, it's a summer because we can't trust Diego Carlos's fitness.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and plus we don't have adequate cover for right back. So I feel like Chambers could stick around unless we get new additions. But Chambers as one, I think that would be more the summer and not January. But that all depends again on if there's clubs interested and if he's looking to get first team football.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I see it.
I think the
What do
nature
you
of
think?
the Chambers deal is we did get him on a free, so I wonder if Villa would be tempted if there was money involved, because that's
Yeah,
just like that's a complete markup of profit on what we got him in for.
yeah, okay,
But I
cool.
see what you're saying about the right back position. Yeah, I don't know if he's trusted there by Emery. I don't know, but I mean Chambers, he started the Legia game and we haven't really like seen him since. So I
Yeah,
just wonder if he's surplus as well. Okay, this one might be a bit controversial, and you've already mentioned him. With his injury record and how prone he could be to injuries, as good as he is on the ball and as good as he's been in the conference, if let's say there was interest from Saudi Arabia, right? Let's just say hypothetically, Do you think Villa would ever be tempted to move Carlos on in January and bring in a centre back?
If there were suitors,
If say let's just say Saudi, because I think that would be the only destination that would really come in from. I think.
possibly, because it's the availability. The availability is an issue. His quality, I think he's
Yeah,
a quality centre back, but availability is huge, especially when you're trying to compete on two different fronts, maybe three for Duno K in the FA Cup. So yeah,
I just feel it might
potentially
be.
because his age, and you know his value
Yeah,
currently, maybe.
I mean, he's 30. He's 30. Maybe I think he's nearly 31 now, and he's started 5 Premier League games since we signed him. He's just been so unlucky with injuries, and then
Mm,
again, when you think he's getting momentum, got injured against Liverpool, got injured against AZ, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I just thought it's a bit of a controversial one. That see what you thought, see if that could be a possibility as well. I personally wouldn't sell him in January. I'd just, if there was to be any kind of movement, I'd wait till summer because his
mm.
passing is so good and his recent injury wasn't minor one. It wasn't like a one where he's out for a couple months or whatever. But yeah, I think that might be one to watch in summer. Maybe Villa might be tempted. I don't know, and bringing another right centre back.
Yeah, it's availability with Diego Carlos. There's no doubt in his quality. He's quality centre back. It's just injuries. He had the whole season last season, and then it's twice now this season already. He's had recurrences of his injuries, and he's not getting any younger. So hopefully he just stays fit, and it's not the case at all. But we don't know what the fitness is of Diego Carlos, and we don't know if these injuries are going to continue to recur, and the Villa medical team will have a greater idea of that and the backroom staff. So yeah, that is an interesting one, and we'll have to see. But I don't think January will be the case for Carlos, but it wouldn't surprise me. Uh, T1 says, "Oh no, not Carlos. We should keep him." I think yeah, I'd keep him for
That
sure.
was a defiant one. That was like no chance we're getting rid of Carlos. I like that. I like that.
Plus, we have a lot more games now. At least the end of the season, I say. Yeah, agree. We have loads of games. We just need him fit. That's the big thing. We need him fit because he'll play loads of football if he is fit. Any more outgoings? Or should we
Yeah,
go
I'm
on
gonna
to
give you two. I'm gonna give you two more just to see
go on then?
what you think of this. Okay, the first one I'm gonna say is, what do you think will happen to Tim Irogbunam? I mean, he's a player that unfortunately would have gone to America in preseason, picked up a back injury that he was dealing with. He's come back to fitness recently as well. Hasn't really had that much game time. Wasn't registered for the Conference League, so he can't even play there. Do you think we could potentially see a loan or even a buyback option sell to raise money for FFP, similar to what happened with Philogene, Aaron Ramsey, and Cameron Archer? What do you think about Tim Irogbunam's future at Villa?
For January, no. No chance in a buyback. I don't think for January or selling him. If Tim was to try and get first team football, it's either he sticks with Villa or he goes out on loan. Um, I don't know. I feel Emery really likes him. I feel like Emery really does like him. It's just the opportunity of playing him. He was in the squad as soon as he came back fit and he was ready and available. He had his availability after that big injury he got before in the pre-season. I don't think we'll do anything with him in January regarding selling. It will either be a loan, like we did with Archer last season, or he sticks around with the first team. And to be honest, I think there's potentially I could see that Eric Burnham's above Dendonka now in the pecking order, um, because I know neither of them played too many minutes, but I feel like Emery he does like Tim. So yeah, if he was to leave in January, it'd be a loan, I think. What are your thoughts?
I actually think we could see some movement. Personally, I mean, he was on the bench that one time recently, and he didn't get any minutes from them. And if you just look at Villa's policy with our youth prospects, like there's a theme there, and I just think as talented as I think Tim is, I think he's wonderful on the ball. He's had starts in the Premier League under Gerrard as well and flourished. Came on against QPR that one season, started against Norwich at home where he played well. But yeah, I do think with like the regime under Monchi, instead of us selling someone big in January to raise money to spend, I think we could see the academy. used again with this buyback option thing. But
But in January, you think that in January?
yeah, honestly, yeah, I think we could see a loan or potential buyback. Buyback. It depends on the interest. If there is championship interest, which there will be because he's shown to be a championship player before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could, because we wouldn't be talking crazy. I don't even think we'd be thinking like double figures. Like Philogene left for 5 million. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't think we'd be thinking.
I feel like with youth, I feel like it's rare to see youth leave in January, like youth team players. It's either they get loaned out for 6 months and finish the end of season at a championship side or a lower Premier League side, and then they activate the option if they want to buy them.
Yeah, I think
So
what's
I
unique
feel
about Tim's role is though he's already been through this process twice, so I think clubs will be more likely to take the permanent option now because they've got archive, they've got evidence of him playing a couple seasons in the Championship, so they might be more willing to do that bid, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. No, it's interesting, and it's there's high hopes for Tim. I think of that FA Youth Cup winning side, he's one of the top players to come out of it, and it's whether we are going to integrate him into the squad or who possibly
I want to
leave.
see
And
him integrated. By the way,
yeah,
this is me. I want to see him get minutes. I want to
no, yeah,
see him.
we're talking based on what we think Villa will do, not
Yeah.
our
I
opinions.
think Tim's quality. I mean, there's one clip where he came on against Brighton away. So I said QPR earlier. I meant Brighton away, and he span Cucurella. Like Cucurella came to tackle him, and he's just sold the feint and done him. And yeah, I think he would suit and flourish in my system. It's just a shame that he's not registered for conference because that game against Morstar, let's just assume we beat Leicester at home. That would have been perfect for him to just start playing.
Yeah, agreed. But that's again a big factor of possibly why he's not playing. But Emery still might like him because he's not registered for the Conference League. So, and in the Premier League, he's just not seen the opportunity yet. I think, as we saw on the weekend against Fulham, we had our two main centre midfielders on 4 bookings, and they could have got a fifth, and he still was reluctant to take them off. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Tim. But yeah, that is another good shout. T1 said, if we ever sell Tim, even with a buyback, I think the fan base would have a fit. They may just turn on Monchi and say he's selling every youngster. Possibly, but
do you think?
It's true.
I don't know. Do you think Tim was more loved by the fans in terms of connection than Archer? I don't think so. I think Archer was the main guy in terms of connection with the fans.
Yeah,
outside of fans,
I think Archer had a big connection because he's yeah.
I think Archer would be the biggest.
Possibly Archer had the biggest impact at other clubs, would you say? Like the biggest pronounced impact, and with the Euros as well, the under-21s, it was like, okay, Archer coming. Plus, possibly people thought he'd be that second striker to Watkins, even though we had Duran as well. So yeah, Archer's up there, but I feel like everyone really rates him as well. As Villa fans, I think they do.
He's loved. We've seen it
because we've seen Philogene starting in pre-season, and we sold him. It looked like Philogene was definitely going to be a part of the squad, and he got sold.
Like, what more could have Philogene done in that pre-season to impress? Like, he ticked every box and he still got sold. This is what I mean about, is this just a directive now from the higher ups that we're going to have to just accept? Or
no, I agree with that, but I don't think it's January. I think that's summer business.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's something to be done in January. I think it would be a loan to see if there are suitors, and then see how well he performs in wherever he goes again, and then look to sell in the summer if that were the case. If we're not going to buy another DM, I'd say keep him because he's the only defensive-minded player at the club after Dendoncker. Yeah, I could see Tim staying. I really could. It's just a shame he's not registered for the conference. With the conference, can that be updated once it's past the group stages?
That's a good question. I'm not actually sure. But you'd think so.
Yeah, I'm sure that's possible in like other European competitions, so in the Champions League and Europa League. So that is.
Well, even then, could you see him in a 2-leg tie? Could you see him getting game time even then? Unless the first tie was a complete like blowout 5-0.
Depends who we draw. I mean, this is a competition. I think this is a competition where the standards between the strongest and the weakest are the most vast in Europe out of the other ones. So it all depends who we'd actually draw, I think, potentially. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, any other outgoings?
Yeah, just to touch on this kid as well. I love this player. I think he's quality. I think he's showing his quality off the bench. But there has been murmurs around him, certain things coming out in the press abroad and stuff like that. Emery addressing it as well, saying it's a challenge for him in training to get the best out of him. But what do you think happens with Mr. John Duran in January?
Yeah, this Duran's situation is an interesting one. It's a tough one because there are a lot of, but the rumours that come out are usually from Colombian sources, aren't they? And that agent pushed. Is Duran not happy? I do believe that the stuff regarding injury was true, and the toe infection that Emery stated and everything like that is true. But then I still feel like there is a bit of disharmony between them.
It feels like the static, can't you? You can feel it. Does
Yeah,
feel like
just a
I know we
bit.
don't know, but
Yeah, and we're not aware of that. And you know how it can be. Sources from players from a specific country, sometimes it can be agent pushed
yeah.
for one reason or another. So yeah, the Duran situation's interesting because I think there's partial truth in both aspects, to be honest.
I mean, he
And
wasn't called up for Colombia this time.
exactly.
He's in
So
Barcelona, so maybe there was some truth with the toe injury. I mean, but he has been on the bench for the past 2 games as well.
yeah, I think it's mad because Duran hasn't got any. He was on the bench for the Alkmaar game and just never came on.
And he was on the bench against Fulham.
Yeah, and got
We
no
saw him
minutes either.
celebrating with
And that's the thing. That's the thing. That's why I don't think it's as bad as suggested because he seems fully part of the team, and whenever I see him, he seems fully, celebratory and really playing for the badge and the shirt and the club. But then there was other rumours of him at half time,
yeah, not
not
warming
warming
up
up
properly
properly,
and stuff.
refusing
Yeah, I
to
saw
warm
that.
up. So it's like
It's a lot
I
of
don't know.
contrast.
It's a there was a lot of contrasting stories. So I don't think he'd go in Jan. Again, if he were
What
to
we're
go, I
talking,
think
by
it'd
the
be
way,
alone.
we're talking loan, by the way, when you say you don't think he'd go.
Yeah, I think it would be alone. I don't think it'd be a sale, not at all.
No, surely not.
If it were to happen, but then again, I just think he's another squad player. I think he'd stay 100%.
It's mad because you could argue he was the last signing from Johan Lange, and I think he's a gem. I really do think he's a gem. I mean,
I think he's
the goal. Carry on.
no, go on.
Yeah. Sorry, just gonna say the goal we saw against Palace. I mean, I don't think people are realizing he changed the complexion of that game. We looked out of ideas. We spoke before about when we go 1-0 down and that's the game state, we can struggle to create because the team can just sit in their shape and block the space. So it does take like a moment of like pure quality. And he's chested it down and he's pulled it past Sam Johnson, who's an experienced goalkeeper. And he's 19 years of age, he's still a teenager. So I just think, if we can just harness this quality and just get the best out of him, man, we're going to look back in 3 or 4 years, it's like, wow, this kid has been an unreal signing. Because
Sure.
the talent's there. The talent's 100%
The talent's definitely there. Yeah, the talent's definitely there. It's just I don't think there's actually a deep problem, but we don't know this. And if the application's not there, it's hard. It's a hard choice to make if you can have all the talent and the application's not there. But I think
We don't know,
it
do
is.
we? Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not too sure. So yeah, I don't. If anything were to happen, I think that would be a learn again. But I can't see it happening. I think we ain't got enough strikers anyway. So I think Duran stays.
Yeah. And I don't buy this narrative of we need to bring in an experienced striker. I completely reject this narrative. I mean, we just went through the whole experience with Ings,
Danny Ings,
which was a disaster. And look how he's gone at West Ham. I mean, he doesn't even get minutes off the bench. And people were saying keep Ings and sell Watkins at one point. So I don't buy the experienced striker thing or get the best out of Watkins or compete with Watkins. Like, what does that even mean? I don't think that's how you get the best out of Watkins. I think what the current setup is, we're seeing Watkins thriving. So yeah, keep Duran. I'd love to keep Duran in January around and have Watkins as the main guy.
Yeah, so the main movers we're staying outgoings, we think, are Dendoncker and Bertrand Traore. Then those are the two, if there were to be any.
And I think Tim will go
permanent.
I'm more swaying to a loan, but I would not be surprised if he was to leave permanently and we were raising money for FFP. Would not be surprised at all.
Yeah. hear it. T1 says, this is regarding Duran. He's not going. I think him just loved the foolishness and attention. I agree with that. He seems happy when we score. Yeah, agree. I think that's the case as well. I just think he's a young kid, and he's come from America over to the UK, and he's just
He's a
living
kid.
life,
He's
and
a
he's
teenager.
emotional. He's just a bit emotional. That's it.
He was in Chicago before. He watched The Last Dance. He relates to Dennis Rodman a bit. So what, man? The Dennis Rodman part of that
Exactly.
documentary was funny. Everyone thought Dennis Rodman used to be cool. So he was just in his feelings for a bit.
Yeah,
and then I don't think it's worth wasting this type of talent and ruining it. So hopefully everything's blessed.
Aaron Morris, thanks for joining. Trusting Unai and Monchi to get our recruitment right. They're making a better job with it than some of the clowns we've had in the past. Yeah, we'll see what they do. They've got the next few windows now. Summer's turned out to be great with the majority of signings we've brought in. They've really
I'd say
flourished.
the three out of the four. I'd say
Powell,
really DRB, Lenglet, but I'd say Zaniolo maybe's the only one that's
Yuri,
I'd say
Tillemans
personally hasn't worked out. Tillemans as well. Sorry, so 4 out of 5.
4 or 5, yeah. So they've got 4 out of 5 spot on. Yeah, so far. Zaniolo's gonna have time.
Let's be honest, he's disappointing. Let's be honest.
What with Zaniolo?
Yeah. Zaniolo, disappointing. He's been disappointing. I think we can be honest about it.
I think there's aspects of his game that have been disappointing, yeah. But then there'll be other areas where someone will point out in games where they think he's had an impact. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still so undecided with him.
Sometimes he's there, sometimes we're picking up Watkins though, or if you miss yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. This podcast loves Watkins, man. The podcast loves Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins is the guy. He's absolutely the guy.
I mean, he had the miss at the weekend and he still scores. It's just like, this is just who he is, isn't it? It's just who he is.
Yeah, and Aaron Morris says we let Jayden go a bit cheap. I think gives any other time, lads. Yeah, the Jayden's gone for 5 mil. It is cheap. It is cheap. Obviously there's a buyback clause, but the majority of the time buyback clauses don't get activated. So it's an interesting one.
If you look at English transfers, they rarely get activated.
Yeah.
What I will say on Zaniolo is, due to the nature of his deal, I agree that players do need time to adjust to a new league. But the nature of his deal is, if he keeps on getting certain appearances, it triggers a 27 million clause. I personally don't think he's worth that from what he's showing. So time's not really like, he doesn't really have that much. It's almost like he almost had to make an instant impact. Ramsey's going to be back soon. Tillemans has already, from the last game, taken him out of the team if we're basing it off that. I just think time isn't really a luxury that he has due to the nature of his deal. If it was a loan with no obligation, I think, he would be like, okay, he's got time, he can bed in. Doesn't matter how many times he plays to the end of the season. But I think Villa will also be wary about, they know that a certain amount of appearances will trigger the clause. And if he's not been delivering to Emery's standards, Villa are not gonna invest in that deal. But yeah, he hasn't been in his preferred position. His preferred position's on the right. Maybe he could shine even more on the right if given the opportunity. But yeah, that's just my take on Zaniolo.
Yeah, Zaniolo's an interesting take because, as you stated, the case with his contract, if it's a number of appearances that make it an obligation to buy, then that will be something that Emery and Monchi are aware of, and he'll be judged on. He's been taken off for 45 minutes in the last 2 games now, after 45.
Yeah. And didn't start
didn't start the next game. So yeah, we'll see with Zaniolo. He's got the whole season, so we'll see. If we
100% agree though, Jayden let go a bit cheap. I understand the buyback's cheaper.
Yeah, Jayden,
5 million. Like.
So that does make me think there's some intention to buy him back, because the sale of 5 million is a very low price, a ridiculous.
Pick up Jayden though, he's been flourishing in the Championship this season.
He's absolutely flying for Hull. I think he just won their Player of the Month recently as well. So he's flying. T1 says, Zaniolo is crap, man. You should keep that side until Ramsey's fit. Yuri was good against Fulham. He had a very good game. Aaron goes, look how he's performing at Hull. I'm sure Unai knows about the clauses.
Yeah, I agree. Fully I think that's why we might have seen him taken out of the team against Fulham. Me personally, I think that might be a reason, but we'll see.
We'll see. Right then, so let's go on to. Firstly, we'll talk about who'd fancy coming in and what players you'd like to see us sign in January, and then we'll go further on to that. Some of the rumours that we've seen about. So, what positions would you like to see be addressed in January?
Okay, let me just say before I go into this though, that I know a lot of Villa fans feel like there's not that much needed in January, and I think yes, I agree with that. Like the squad's been great, and we're performing really well. But on the other side, I think due to the nature of our position in the league, if we go into that January transfer window, let's say top 4, top 5, we could maybe attract a different type of talent in the market. That could be an opportunity that maybe we didn't have before. If we've got the wages to offer, if players are seeing the league table, if players want to play under Emery, like we could be attracting like a certain level of player that might not have been on our list before. So that's why I think it could be a great market opportunity in January to bring in a real top quality player. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that before going into it.
I think everyone agrees with that. I think that's
Yeah.
a great point. Yeah, if there's an opportunity there, I think the board's ambition and plan was the 5-year plan was for Champions League football. I think there's an opportunity for that in January. I think they go for it within the means, but I think they'd go for it. They'd back Emery for whoever he'd want. So yeah, I think that's the case. So yeah, then so what positions do you think we'll be looking at?
Okay, so I wrote a little draft of the positions I think we might
come prepared, yeah.
might look at. Little prepared, little notes in that. But okay, the first position, and tell me if you agree with this or not. I think we might look at a right back.
I think right back for sure.
You agree with that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second position I think we might look at is centre midfield. If Dunker's moved on, I think we might look for a backup to well, I say backup, someone to compete with Kamara.
Yeah, agreed.
And finally, if Bertrand is moved on, I think we might look towards another attacker.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be the three.
I agree with those. Yeah, I agree with those three. Do you think there's any movement in the backup goalkeeper? That's another one we didn't say.
No, I kind of think
or do you
I read
reckon
an
he sees the season?
Yeah, I read an interview with Olsen the other day, and he seems happy at Villa. To be honest, I think he sees out his contract. I think it's going to be hard for Villa to convince Olsen to leave. I mean, it's good money. He's a backup goalkeeper. Yeah, so I think Olsen sees out his contract, which I think is 2025.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I think he does. I think we've signed him, tied him down. Unless there's stupid money thrown at him to go elsewhere, I think he's settled and he'll probably just see out his contract.
Yeah, he still starts for Sweden, so that's not been threatened yet. So
yeah. So for those positions, then what players have we got here? Who are you thinking?
So the thing is with Emery's right back position and who he brings in.
Hold on. Firstly, before that, there's some names here that have been suggested and some chat. So Aaron Morris goes Nico Williams. We'll get on to that. He also goes right back 100%.
Yeah, I agree, Aaron.
And T1 goes when Bertrand is moved on, not if.
When I was trying to be nice.
Yeah. Try to keep it nice. So then, who? Some names. Let's hear them.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is with Emery and the right back scenario, we know how we play. We have a right centre back that's currently being occupied by Kamara, but when Bailey comes on and plays right wing back, Cash drops into right centre back. So does Emery want a right back that pushes on, goes forward, similar to what Cash would do, or does he want like a right centre back to fill in that role? So that's kind of the distinction that I think is important. But I'm going to assume that he wants a right wing back to bomb up the pitch and get us forward, similar to what Cash does. So my first suggestion was a player called Vanderson at Monaco. Another suggestion was a player called Ferdi Kagigoglu from Fenerbahce. These are all really rapid wing backs that are young. They can beat their man, and I think they'll suit Emery's system. And the final one I was going to say is a player called Thiago Santos at Lille. So those will be my three suggestions.
The one I've heard, Vanderson, I remember he had Manchester United links. I've watched him play a few times. He's rapid.
He has been linked to United.
Yeah, so Vanderson. The other two, I'm not not too aware of. So
I just
is
think,
there similar style to how Cash operates, or
yeah, and
do they
it's
vary?
more like cheaper options. I can't see us splashing like 50, 60 million. These like will be
Mm.
like 30 million under that kind of thing, but like with real potential and can fit into that role. So there
Do
might
you
not
see?
be that heard of. Like even I've like a couple years ago, I hadn't heard of them, but like just seeing them more this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be some
Do you
good
think
options.
Truffert is one of them as well?
I think he's left back, isn't he?
Yeah, but doesn't he operate on the right as well?
He can play on the right as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be another good option. I know we
because
got
he
linked with him.
operates for both sides. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Some interesting
I
names like
mean,
that.
there was one Frimpong that we were linked with once. He weren't the best link, but he's been
Mm,
balling at Leverkusen recently, so I can't see him leaving Xavi
yeah,
Alonso's Leverkusen.
that
Like they're
link up
balling.
with DRB, Frimpong, and Bailey.
Mm.
That was just Leverkusen just getting
Leverkusen
Leverkusen
might be
players
sick
every
of us at
window.
this point.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, to be fair, because we sign their players to just keep improving. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah,
Do you
some
have
decent
any
ones
more
there.
to add?
No, I'm I'm like you. I'm not aware what type of right back Emery would want. Because I know you can have Diego Carlos playing in that right centre back position, but as
Yeah,
we
yeah,
stated,
yeah,
his injury record at the minute, we don't know how his availability is. So you've got Ezri Konsa, but Ezri Konsa's flying right now, just playing in his position. So who's the backup, or if Cash were to get injured, or Konsa, who is that backup in that position? What type of role would Emery want?
yeah.
So yeah, that's the interesting thing for me. But I do definitely think we'll be looking at a right back.
Because if you
Definitely.
wanted the right centre back cut role, I could see him going for 1 4 if that was at Villarreal that he had.
Mm, mm.
I could see him being tempted doing that deal.
And that was
Depending on
that
the
was just a name linked because of Villarreal anyway. There's
yeah,
a whole
yeah.
host of players that were linked just because it was Villarreal anyway. But yeah, that is one that I could definitely see happening.
And then the last one I'll say is, what do you think of Walker Peters at Southampton? Would you want him?
I
Do you think he's overrated? What do you think of Walker Peters?
Walker Peter. I don't know how good he is. It's hard to judge someone if they're in a team side that's just been relegated. I
Yeah,
mean, James Ward-Prowse has left. We all know James Ward-Prowse can play, but he looks better now that he's at West Ham. He's a decent side. So Carl Walker-Peters is another one possibly if he were to leave Southampton and come to a side that's chasing for European football, he could really fly and possibly get him a decent price as well. England international as well. He's played for England senior side, so he has quality. So yeah, that would be an interesting one. Carl Walker-Peters for sure. Definitely.
okay. Yeah, it's a
Aaron
very good
says, yeah, I was thinking Frimpong 2 months ago. Yeah, the relationship as well, but I think he'd be a tough order to get Frimpong currently.
thing with Frimpong
If-
as well is he can't defend, so you'd have to have Kamara just in that right centre back for the whole time.
But that's how, yeah. But the
That's how we
interesting
play.
thing is
Yeah,
that's how we play now. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's what Emery thinks. Protecting Cash when he goes forward, he wants
Mm.
Kamara there dropping in
Mm.
when Cash got bombs off. And I was watching I was watching some footage the other day of our game versus Forest. We used to play Ashley Young in that right centre back role. I just forgot that he used to play
Mm.
in that right centre back role. So yeah, we haven't replaced Young since he's left. Maybe January is going to be the time where
Yeah.
we do finally
Facts.
replace Young.
Facts. Okay, moving on to the next position then.
Yeah,
So
next position, centre midfield. This is me assuming that then Dunker is sold and we do loan or move Tim Iwobi out. I think Villa might want to look for competition with Kamara. So, yeah. Do you have any names for centre mid?
well, the one we're always linked to, and I thought there's real possibilities. Arrhenius from Benfica.
Yeah,
I feel like he's just a Dendonkel with more mobility and can play more. And he's at that age, experience age now, 27, I think. I think he'd be a player we'd be looking at. There's been links to him previously, and when I've watched him play, he's been decent. Norwegian international. Um, yeah, I think he'd be one that we'd be looking at. What are your
yeah. I
thoughts
think
on
that's a
that?
great. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I mean, there's been lots of links with him, and he's not old.
No,
He's a good age, and yeah, he might suit Emery's system.
yeah, yeah. That was the one that stuck out to me. Is there any thoughts regarding centre midfielders that you think? possibly look at?
Yeah, so the first one I'm going to say is Alex Baena from Villarreal. I mean, he's more like a slash AM CM type, but he's played under Emery before. He could probably fill in that slot. He's good on the ball. He can tackle, but that would probably more be like competition for Luis and Kamara, maybe.
Yeah.
Another one is Manu Kone at Gladbach. That was getting links from Liverpool. I mean, if we could get him for a good deal and he was looking to play under Emery, wanted to come to the Champions League, I think that could be a top signing to compete with Kamara
Quality
as well.
player.
And then another one is Palacios at Leverkusen as well. I mean, we had links from good reports in Argentina saying we were linked with him. Now, I don't know if that's because there was links with Luis and Arsenal, and they just kind of said that as like just to throw Villa's name in there of what they might anticipate. I don't know, because he's a really good player, so probably wouldn't come in for backup.
Again, it's another Leverkusen player, but he's been imperative along with Xhaka in the style of play that Xabi Alonso has been, things he's been doing over there. So Palacios he's a big name for sure.
Yeah. And the final one is Gabriel Sara at Norwich. I don't know if you've seen him play too much, but he's been balling in the Championship, and Norwich aren't doing the best. So I think that could be an opportunity to sign a player from the Champ. I know it's a lot lesser league, but he's been performing like, wow, this guy's too good for the Championship, clearly. And he's a centre midfielder that could suit Emery's system as well. So yeah, those are my options.
Okay. And about those options, who do you think we'd look at the most? Who do you think? Because Alex Baena, again, Villarreal links, a bit more attacking though, not as defensive. Yeah. Especially if Dendoncourt, we're looking to replace Dendoncourt if Tim was to go out on loan. The other players more suited to those roles. So who would you think?
Kone.
Actually look for Kone.
Kone would be the most out of that profile.
Yeah. Kone would. And again, if we're trying to push for, Champions League football, I think we'd really stretch the boat out and try and get those type of players in, or at least attempt to try and sign those players.
Yeah.
Even though it's January, I think we'd really throw the money at it. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Really is. One says, right now we are one big injury away from 10th. We need to hope and pray and sign accordingly. I think they will. I think they will as well. Sure, if Watkins did get injured, it's a massive drop off in terms of, he's just a regular striker. Duran has ability, but he's not the regular striker, so it'd be a whole different way of playing. So
I don't think, is there a bigger drop off in position than Watkins? Maybe Martinez.
Yeah, Emmy or Watkins, I think. But
even if you think like Luis, like you could Gav Tillerman slot in there. So he's like Luis. I think he's the best player this season. But in terms of the drop off to the next quality player, I think Watkins and Martinez are the biggest drop offs.
Yeah, facts. So what's your next position then?
Yeah, the next and final position is if Bertie is moved on, winger, bro. I think we might look at a winger.
Yeah, facts. So now, if we're looking at a winger, are we looking again as a mould of the RB can play second striker as well as a wing?
Yeah, and I think the winger probably would be left-footed.
Yeah, facts. So some names. Who are we thinking? There's one obvious one.
Let's start with the big one.
The obvious one. Yeah.
Well, the one we're gonna say is Nico Williams, and I know people will be like, "Oh, come on, it's January transfer. No way have you seen some of the clubs he's been linked with? Like, no way Villa going to try again." City, Barcelona, I can hear it. I know these are all massive, massive clubs, but I just think Emery really likes this player. I mean, we've had it confirmed that he flew out in summer, took him out for dinner, and tried to convince him to become the player. At the time, was still undergoing negotiations. He still hasn't signed a new contract with Bilbao yet. He's a free agent in summer. Bilbao might be tempted to take an offer right now if they know they're not going to get money in summer if he can leave on a free. So, yeah, I think we're going to try. It's going to be a hard deal, but I do think we're going to try for that deal in January and just see if we can pull it off. I'm not expecting us to. I haven't got that high expectations, but yeah, I do think Emery still loves the player.
I think we definitely go back in. Right as of now, we're trying to sort something. Whether we do, I'm not too sure. I don't think we will. There are a lot of clubs that are going to be after his signature. He's putting up some mad dribbling stats this season, and
He
how
looks
he's
good.
playing is ridiculous. He looks good, and
You can tell he's an
I
Emery type
see
player.
why Emery has wanted him for such a long time. Will we get him? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we'll definitely go back in for sure. Definitely. And let's see. We got the man from Spain, the big dog, Monchi. Let's
Yep,
see
yep.
his connections and his content, and see what he can do, what he can conjure up. Because no
Benito,
doubt
the
he'll
new
be back
scout,
there.
scouting La Liga constantly. Let's
Yeah,
see what he.
yeah. But yeah, I do think Nico Williams.
Nico Jackson,
My bad, slip of the
maybe
tongue there.
the
Former
other
Wigan
window,
player as
maybe.
well. But I do see Nico Williams leaving Bilbao. And
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be a free. I think if he was to leave, I think he has a lot of respect for the club, the heritage of, Athletic
yeah,
Bilbao.
100%. Yeah,
If he was to leave, he'd command a fee.
it will
Now,
be forfeit.
if he was to sign, it would be release clause. But potentially he's at this point where he's like, okay, I'm looking to leave in January, and I think he'd still command a very, very high fee
I
for
think
the
it would be high,
contract.
but it would be respectable enough for him to leave. I think that would be the agreement. That's probably negotiations now over the fee. Like it can't be ridiculous for no clubs to bid. Like Bilbao need to accept, like, okay, if we put a release clause in, we accept that. We'll get a good fee for him. We
Yeah,
won't lose money on the player instead of him going for free in summer, which could happen.
yeah. Yeah, so it
Yeah,
goes one
top
or
player.
two ways. If they sign him, if he signed in January, it'll be a decent fee that him and Bilbao are happy with. If not, he'll sign a new deal, probably with a release clause in that the club are happy with as well. So yeah, we'll see, man. But he's a player that we really would be class. Any other names?
Yeah, this is kind of not cheating, I would say, but it is someone that we have been linked with, but who I really like the look of, and that's Geni Katamo from Sporting
Mhm,
CP, Sporting Lisbon. Like
mhm.
Birmingham Live did a report, I think a couple months back, saying that we were genuinely interested in this player. He's young, he's technical on the ball, he's got pace, he's left-footed as well. And yeah, that might just be a deal that could be already in the works, similar to Duran, where it's just like an out of nowhere one where we just bring in a young talent from abroad.
How old is he?
I think he's I think he's 21, 22.
It's a really young striker again.
Kind of like more like a right winger, I'd say. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
plays right
interesting.
wing back in that system at Sporting, but he's tasked with like beating his man, going forward, getting into the box, cutting it back. It's the kind of thing Emery would want. And I don't think he'll
Yeah,
be that much money. It's kind of no brainer really. So yeah, I think we could go for him as well.
another good name. Tiwan says what the guy in Portugal, can't remember his name, he scored against Arsenal from the halfway line,
Oh,
the midfielder.
Pedro G.
Talking about Pedro G, yeah. She also goes, where are you finding these names for, Zach?
Made them all up, man. But none of them actually exist.
They don't exist. But yeah, if we go Pedro, he's been linked
Yeah,
for
what
how
do you
long?
think about that? Do you think that will ever happen or?
I don't know. I think the fees just. I don't know though, because I don't know what market we're shopping in now, especially if we're pushing to get Champions League football. And we're still in that position in January, who knows what fees we'd offer and how much we'd be looking to spend. So potentially, yeah. If Emery really, really wants him, we go back in. I think Emery just has full backing of the board now. So
Yeah, he's the guy.
whatever him and Monchi say goes.
He's the mob
And they'll
boss.
try.
He's the leader of everything. Like he's got the most power in
Exactly.
the club outside of
Exactly. And
any-
they have no reason to doubt him. So because of the performances and what's happening on the pitch. So yeah,
the only thing that
Pedro for
limits
that.
him is FFP, really, isn't it? Wherever we are in the
Mm.
confines of FFP.
Which has been a big discussion today. But yeah, after Everton's points deduction.
Yeah,
So yeah, and I do feel like FFP it just stops the smaller clubs from spending. To be honest, from getting to that next level. That's my opinions on it anyway. Um, so yeah, we'll still be working within our means, but we may have some money available. We may have some additional money available to actually go for it this January window. So yeah, any other positions, or is that it from you?
Now I think that's everything. What do you think about more links to Marcus Acuna? Do we need another left back? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so yeah, there's a few rumours going about of Acuna. There's Tammy rumours as well that always pop up.
When isn't there
Uh,
Tammy rumors? Like Tammy
always
rumors
pop
will
up.
just happen for the next decade. Like even when he's retired, it's just like, will he come back to Villa one day? Like I've
Yeah,
just accepted that now.
it's the Robbie Keanes, Jermaine Defoe's, Benny McCarthy's. It's just another one
Yeah,
of that, isn't it? Uh, I don't think we'll sign Tammy in January, to be honest. He's injured. Had an ACL, so he'd have there wouldn't be minimal use of him until like March. I think March, April time when he's back. So I don't think that would happen. Acuna's a strange one. Acuna's because the rumours haven't disappeared. We obviously did make a bid for him for 5 million in the summer.
yeah.
He
And he
got
seemed
injured and
upset
it
that he
never
didn't.
happened.
Yeah, he didn't get his contract. He does seem quite upset from like reports. And apparently he's still in a strop at Sevilla, so they're just happy to let him go now. They've got their replacements.
But then what happens with Luca Digne? Because Luca Digne, it looked like he was going Nice. He was all and he ended
Yeah.
up staying and he's performing. So
That's why I think now I can't see it myself. That's why I didn't really mention the
yeah,
left back in the. I can't see it. I mean,
I
there's an
can't see it
argument to
either.
say, as good as he's been from his levels last season, is he still an Emery type player? Is he only playing due to Moreno's injury? Like he has been much improved this season. I just think with the wages as well, is that still the consideration? I'm not sure, really. I'm not sure if that's that big of a consideration for Villa. Or they'd want to move Digne on. I can't see it, especially not knowing if
Not
Moreno.
January anyway.
Nah.
No, not January. Yes, I don't see Acuna happening. I
Me
don't see
neither.
it happening.
I don't see a left
No,
back coming in.
no, not at all. Any other names? Any other rumours? Any other thoughts? You got T1 saying here, you must be working with Langelo.
Oh, what I
But
think's
yeah,
funny. What I think's funny is Lang. Looking at Lang now, like some of the rumors at Spurs, like we'll be able to see now.
our targets.
I mean, today they were linked with Rafinha. I was like, what's
Are
going
they?
on there, man? Like, did we
So
watch?
let's.
Is Lange
Oh,
learning his lesson? Is when he could have signed Rafinha and he signed Traore instead, all the wingers
yeah,
back. Is he learning his lesson?
facts. There was a name linked with Spurs, I think the other day, and I thought, yeah,
Ealing Junior
that's
at
that was it, Ealing
Juventus.
Junior from Juventus, yeah. And Villa have been linked with him for the last 4
Yeah,
months. Ealing Junior,
even last year,
and then suddenly was linked to Spurs, and it's just like, okay, that's Johan
that's
and
your
Rob.
hands, guys. We can start to decipher suddenly who this guy really wanted and that, who the stinkers
Exactly,
are and who the good ones are.
and who the board rejected,
Yeah, or Gerard.
or Emery, yeah, or Gerard at the time, yeah. So yeah, any more rumours or
I mean, do
transfers
you want to
or
address the
names?
Douglas Luiz rumors? I mean, Fabrizio has reported on it. Again, what's your opinion on Douglas Luiz
Um,
and the Arsenal rumors?
Firstly, I want to say Arsenal fans and Arsenal in general don't understand how good he is, and the majority just underrate. Or yeah, that some of the stuff I see, I'm just like, yeah, you
It's a
don't
joke,
mention
innit?
Luke
They
in
don't
that.
know. They
Yeah,
don't know.
it's just disrespect. But yeah, now to Dougie himself. Yeah, if there is a release clause in his contract, Arsenal might attempt to push that in January. If and it's a huge if, I have no idea. But if, I think they'll try and see what that is around about. And then it's just on Dougie. Now I don't know if Dougie stays or goes, and depending if a bid like that came in, I'm not aware of it. I don't know. Do I think he'll go though? No, I don't think he'll go. I think he stays, and if anything were to happen, it'd be the summer. But I can't say I'm 100% he stays,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think he leaves in January. What I will say is though, you can never like speak for a player's intentions. Like, let's wait up. Arsenal have guaranteed Champions League football at the moment, and then the London life as well. That could be enticing to a player like Luis, but I just think the momentum is on with Villa. He's recently got a new contract. He's performing well. He's got back into the national team, so that's not even an incentive anymore where he feels, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I have to leave. No, can't see it. I can't see it. And yes, Arsenal fans are underrating Douglas Luiz, man. They do not
Yeah,
know. This guy's
I
been
don't
balling now
understand
for
it.
over a year. So just let them keep underrating. And
And
it's a shame.
facts.
It's a shame that Arteta doesn't underrate him. Maybe we wouldn't even have the links. But Arteta clearly
Yeah,
rates him a lot. They do clearly rate him. And because they're actually watching how good he's been. But yeah,
and
I don't
and
think
and
Douglas.
you know, Arteta, former Man City, Edu, Brazil links. The link's always going to be there anyway, even if there isn't any because of that. So yeah, yeah,
It's the
that's
nature of
one
the
we'll have to
beast.
wait and see. Yeah,
We're
it
up
is.
there
It's
at the top
football.
now. Our players are going to be
It's
linked away.
football.
We're just going to have to. I don't get emotional over it. I don't
Nah,
start being like, oh, why did them like no, like you can't have it both ways. You can't be top or near the top and then not get our best players linked away. It's just what it is, isn't it? But yeah, I can't see Douglas.
some people
Mm.
might argue though that other clubs wouldn't have such links if they were in that position, say Chelsea or you know a Tottenham of their best
Yeah,
player
but
leaving to go
yeah,
to
but
somewhere else.
I think that's context added. I mean, they've been in that position now. Like as much as like Tottenham haven't won that much, they've consistently got into the Champions League for that period. Like they've been up there for a while now. Same with Chelsea. I think that's just the nature and the context of the situation. We haven't been in the Champions League now. What 30 years? We're new up there. As good as our history is, like this is uncharted waters in terms of like Premier League for a while now, for over a decade. So I just think it's the context and nature of where we are as a club. I remember when Leicester won the league, all their players were still being linked away, and they just won the
Yeah,
league.
facts.
So it just is what it
Facts.
is. And
I think Aaron. This is everyone's sentiments as a Villa fan.
yeah, well
Buggy not
said.
for sale. Arsenal can f right off. Yeah, I think that's how every Villa fan feels. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Bro, thanks for joining in, man. This has been a great pod.
I enjoyed that.
Discussing everything regarding the January window, and we'll
And
see.
watch, come January,
Let's
we
just
won't sign any of the guys that we've just mentioned.
nothing in the end, nothing
It'll be
related at all.
completely.
Aaron comes in again with DI is the heartbeat of our Villa side. Yeah, 100% facts.
Emery's watching. Emery's gonna watch this in his free times with someone like, what are these guys on? But like these
Talking
are
about.
let me do my
We
job.
turned it off straight away. But yeah, everyone, thanks for joining. Again, if you could like the stream, it's much appreciated. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel.
Share it as
Bro,
well. Share the content
yeah,
around with Villa fans. We'd love to have more of you in the community and just talking about the club that we all love.
yeah. Thanks to T1 and Aaron especially for joining us live here. It's much appreciated. He's really engaging in the conversation and making some great points. So yeah, bro, thanks again. We'll be back next week. Might be doing something a little different, as well as a match preview for the game against Spurs. So look out for that. And yeah, thanks for joining us. And hopefully it was better than the England game. Cheers, bro.